Let's get salty!
Hey everyone, Zeddy here again today with a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about quest lines again. What a crazy concept. I wanted to do a video that I basically never really do, pretty much ever. Typically when we're doing discussion videos, we're talking about things that could get nerfed, buffed, changed, whatever. Things going on in the game, troubling mechanics and all that stuff, but rarely do I ever suggest like actual like reworks or fixes to a cards or anything like that. And I just thought I tried today. Something a little different where I give my feedback on how I would change the quest lines for better or worse. You might disagree, you might agree with my suggestions, and a lot of these suggestions have been shared by others. Maybe some haven't been, but whatever. I'm sure you've heard probably all of these before, but it's just stuff I've been thinking about, and I'm not pretending that I'm better or smarter than any designer on the Hearthstone team. I'm just throwing my opinions out there. They're probably all terrible. Probably none of these suggestions would be much better, but maybe there's like a morsel of something that could be worked with and just something to talk about. You can share what you guys feel would improve the quest lines, make it feel a little more reasonable, or you could be perfectly happy with them and think they're fine. Personally, I think they're overtuned. I think they create a very repetitive game, and I don't think they really require like high deck building or very interesting deck building. And let's just go into basically, it's 5 different things I would change or do to make the quest lines a little more reasonable, but hopefully still playable. That's the thing. Like you can kill the card and make it unplayable. That's very easy to do, but to make it not feel as bad but still playable that's a very tricky thing that I'm sure the developers, that's something they're trying to balance. So first off, as pretty obvious, we've seen a couple times already, is you can just change the requirements. You can change these requirements. You can make it so it takes 8 now, right? With the Demon Seed, this used to be 6. You could change that you get less lifesteal or something like that. You can just change the numbers, and we've seen that work. However, we've seen it work with like Shaman, where I don't see this card see like any play anymore. Is that what you want to do? You want to take it kind of out of the equation? Like Quest Shaman's not terrible or anything, but it's not that great anymore. It's kind of hurt, but again, that's the basic, most simple thing you can do. It's just change the requirements, and we've seen that. We could do that more. Like I could definitely argue, like the final showdown in particular, that the first step probably should be draw 5 cards to slow it down a little bit. But again, I feel like that's the weakest type of solution, to just change requirements, because you're either not going to affect it enough or you're going to kind of just kill it, and it's not really, I don't know. I just find it's the easiest thing to do and maybe not the most interesting or most productive, but so far that's the route we've seen. Second suggestion I would make is to shuffle the reward. Shuffle the reward. Like right now, the only one that kind of does that is Priest. And Priest is like the slowest, right? Priest is already the slowest quest line. It does have the best payoff though. You literally win the game when you play the Purified Shard. However, you have to complete the slowest quest line, the one that definitely requires the most build around. So actually probably one of the more better designed quests in that regard. But you play your reward, which is Zarella, but it shuffles the actual reward, the 10-mana spell, into your deck. Imagine you're playing Sorcerer's Gambit, and then you get Arcanist Dawngrasp, but it's shuffled into your deck. You have to find it. That would make it a lot slower. It would make things a little bit more reasonable. That's certainly one approach you can, but maybe that would just make them unplayable. I don't know. That's kind of a risk with that, so it's probably why it's kind of lower on my list. By the way, I should have said at the beginning, but I'm kind of ranking these in the way I would like to see it improve the most. But yeah, shuffling is definitely something I think they could consider. But it fundamentally changes the mechanic and everything. They would have to give dust refunds on literally every quest. I don't see that happening, but it's certainly a suggestion. It's certainly something worth discussing. Another change you could consider is just upping the cost of the rewards. Upping the cost from, in my opinion, I think it would be kind of cool to see them go from 5 mana to 7 mana. Because the main disruption in the game right now is Mutinous. Mutinous the Devourer. It can eat a minion in your opponent's hand. If you make the reward 7, it's a lot harder to play from in hand while you complete your quest, and it also gives more of a chance to actually have a realistic opportunity to disrupt it with a card like Mutinous. So if you upped it from 5 to 7, you probably need to up the stat lines too to like 8/8 or 9/9 or something. Maybe give them all taunt like the Priest one or something. But at the same time, you're giving opportunities for actual disruption to come into the game to disrupt it. Again, this would nerf every single quest line, offer dust refunds for every single quest line. Again, probably not very realistic, but this video is not about realistic changes. It's about just how I think it would be, you know, improved. And I just think from 5 to 7 mana, I think would slow the quest lines down a lot, and you would also have some disruption opportunities. But again, could outright kill them, make them unplayable. So again, is that really what you want to do? My next suggestion would to be add more disruption into the game. We currently have like Far Watchpost, we've got like Cult Neophyte, and as I mentioned earlier, Mutinous, but there's, you know, they're kind of far and few between. They're not exactly the most effective tools in the world. You can even put like Robes of Protection can be kind of a tech option as well, but they're not amazing, and they often just don't do well in other matchups and can be detrimental to you. However, you could add a card into from a core set or something like Dirty Rat or potentially Lotheb, something like that, or just introduce a card with an impact like this in the next mini set, the next expansion. And I feel like disruption is healthy for the game. It can add a lot of nuance to deck building. It can also create, you know, ways that people have to play around. Maybe they can't complete their quest until they play the reward, which inherently can slow down the play rate as well. So I feel like disruption tools are a lot healthier. You don't have to nerf cards in particular if the disruption is there. It's powerful enough, and it's hopefully not like unhealthy. Like Mind Render Lucia was very powerful disruption, but very toxic at the same time, creating horrible experiences where it's just, you just lose your hand. Whereas a Dirty Rat type of card, you can realistically play around. You can hold minions, you can hold your quest reward until a certain point. I like those type of cards. I like that type of solution, and adding more disruption in the game could just be a real good way of going about it. Doesn't necessarily have to be Dirty Rat, but something in that vein, because Mutinous, as good as it is, it's 7 mana and it's just a one-time thing, and it's relatively slow, and it's just, I would love to see more disruption options added. And my last suggestion, and my favorite suggestion, and it's the most out there, I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to take on it, but is to rework the quest lines entirely in this regard. The requirements. To me, the requirements are so simple and boring for most of the quests and require very little deck building, like Pirate Warrior. That's just Pirate Warrior. Mage is just, you just play Spell Mage. It's nothing much. You play Pirates, and Demon Hunter, you just draw cards. So my suggestion, and I'll use, let's say Demon Hunter as an example, is each part of the quest line is unique and requires almost its own build around to an extent. You could have the first part be draw 4 cards in 1 turn. The next part, play 3 Outcast cards. The next part, play 3 Foul Spells, or play 3 Life Steal effects, or attack 3 times with your hero. Like, each part is its own quest line, its own unique part of the journey through this quest to activate that final reward. Like, if you look at the Warrior one, it could be play 3 Pirates. Then it could be attack with your weapon 2 or 3 times, and then you could have, I don't know, shoot cannons or something along those lines. It doesn't have to be exactly these things, but each step has its own unique flavor. Mage could be play a Fire, Frost, and Arcane spell. The next part could be freeze 3 minions, or damage the hero a certain amount of times. Something different, something thematic, but still in the line of like, we're gotta complete this quest line. We have to do all these things to achieve our goal of getting that final reward. And I just think it would require more of a build around. It would be more thematic, more flavorful, and it wouldn't be so just, I play spells, I play pirates, I draw cards. It would just be a lot more fun, in my opinion. And that's originally, when I saw the quest lines, I thought we'd have more of that, but honestly, the only one that's really like that is the Priest one, where you play a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. They can all be very different, they can all be unique. It requires more of a build around. But even Paladin, where just play 1-drops, it's Hunter, do damage with spells, it's all repetitive, it's all the same thing. And maybe that'd be a really cool rework, but that's an entire rework of every quest. They're not going to do that. This is more just a theory crafting spitball kind of fun thing, but that's kind of my ideal changes. That's what I'd love to see. The only things I really see happening would be just changing the requirements some more, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I thought it'd be a lot of fun. I rarely ever give my insight, and maybe you'll see why these are terrible ideas. I've never done any theory crafting, custom cards, anything, but I thought I'd share. We'll see how this video does. I'm not expecting or hoping for the best, but I thought I'd try. So if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Have a great day, and stay salty, my friends.